Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a profoundly fascinating astrological concept today, Saturn in the 12th house. Now, if you've been exploring your natal chart or tracking planetary transits, you probably already know this specific placement carries a pretty heavy, sometimes even dreaded reputation. Let's be honest, Saturn is known as the cosmic taskmaster, right? So sticking him in the hidden, shadowy 12th house usually makes people want to just hide under the covers. But today we're unpacking the actual data and insights from our source material to show you what this truly represents. It's not a punishment, actually scratch that. It's more like a masterclass in deep personal evolution. The big takeaway we're looking at today is exactly how this cosmic influence uses isolation and restriction to forge some truly incredible wisdom.
So I have a question for you. Is life slowing you down, or is it redirecting you inward? Have you ever gone through a period where literally everything just seemed to hit a massive, frustrating roadblock? You know the feeling? You're trying so hard to push forward, but it feels like you're wading through waist-deep mud. If that's you, I want to completely validate those feelings of stagnation right now. According to the source material, this kind of pause, it is highly intentional. It is not life trying to hold you back from your goals. It's life firmly, stubbornly redirecting your attention inward. You're being asked to stop and look at the things you usually just rush right past.
All right, let's get into section 1, the call to solitude. We live in a world that's just packed with constant noise and endless distractions. Because of that, it's incredibly easy to run from isolation to avoid feeling lonely at all costs. But this placement asks you to look closer. Are you just avoiding that lonely feeling, or are you actually sitting with it to uncover some really deep personal lessons? In the context of Saturn in the 12th house, solitude goes through this massive transformation. It stops being this passive, sad state of loneliness, and instead it becomes a very active, major teacher in your life. This is the classroom where the real work happens. Saturn in the 12th equates solitude to a core life teacher, and if you try to skip the class, you miss the lesson. You have to actively reframe your alone time as a valuable resource, not a deficit.
You know, there's a common misconception out there that if you're pulling back from the world, you're somehow failing or falling behind everyone else. But as our source material clearly highlights, success often comes after periods of withdrawal or isolation. Stepping back is absolutely not a failure. Under this specific influence, withdrawal is often a strict, entirely necessary prerequisite for true lasting success. It's like building a skyscraper. You're retreating underground to pour a foundation that the outside world simply cannot see yet.
Moving right along to section 2, delays and unseen burdens.
Whenever a sudden delay happens, our immediate, very human reaction is to think, great, I'm being punished. But we need to shift our perspective on those frustrating roadblocks. Saturn in the 12th uses these delays to force deep inner growth entirely behind the scenes. So here's the crucial point. Are setbacks punishing you, or are they preparing you? By challenging how we normally view delays, we can start to see them as forced periods of necessary preparation. The universe is essentially telling you, hey, you aren't ready for the next level quite yet, because you still have some foundational inner work to finish up.
And that brings us to the invisible weight you might be hauling around right now, hidden fears, karmic responsibilities, and silent struggles. If you're experiencing this placement, I want to validate your reality for a second. You are carrying burdens that absolutely no one else notices. It often feels like you're wearing a heavy backpack completely filled with rocks, but to everyone on the outside, you just look like you're going for a normal stroll. These karmic responsibilities and silent struggles are very, very real. And just acknowledging them, that's the very first step toward eventually being able to set them down.
Now, this invisible weight often ties directly to how we interact with the material world. When things go wrong, are you just losing something, or are you actually learning to let go? The text points out something really fascinating here. Under this Saturn placement, unexpected expenses and painful losses are actually deliberate lessons. They're there to teach detachment. And sure, it's incredibly difficult in the moment, but these events are designed to show you that your ultimate security simply cannot be tied to external, material things. It's a rigorous, sometimes painful training in releasing what no longer serves your highest good. And ultimately, that's what allows you to start unburdening yourself from that heavy, invisible backpack we just talked about. Once you detach from what you don't need, the load gets remarkably lighter.
Let's dive into section 3, facing your inner shadows. This psychological work we're talking about, it is not an overnight process. Those hidden fears take real time to fully surface, and more importantly, they take time to heal. Over the years, Maybe because of past hurts or those unseen karmic burdens, you painstakingly built emotional walls, slowly, just to protect yourself. But remember, Saturn is the planet of time and patience. It does not allow for rushed demolition. You can't just take a wrecking ball to these defenses. Dismantling those emotional walls slowly is just as deliberate as the process you used to build them in the first place. You have to heal brick by brick.
As you look at your own emotional walls, you have to ask yourself a pretty piercing question. Are you protecting yourself or are you imprisoning yourself? It is a very fine line. At first, an emotional boundary is a great shield, but over time, if you leave it unchecked, that exact same shield becomes a self-imposed prison cell that keeps love, connection, and new opportunities out. The shadow work of the 12th house is all about recognizing exactly when a protective measure has outlived its usefulness and has started to become a cage.
As you navigate this shadow work, ask yourself, are you seeking enlightenment or are you seeking endurance? In our fast-paced modern culture, we all want the life hack for spiritual awakening, don't we? We want enlightenment by next Tuesday. But the source text is incredibly clear on this. Spiritual maturity grows through patience, not shortcuts. This placement isn't about finding some quick, easy fix for your soul. It is entirely about building the gritty, day-to-day endurance necessary to grow through patience. And a huge part of that endurance is actually knowing when to just stop. Are you resting enough to hear yourself think? It sounds so basic, right? Just go get some sleep. But under this cosmic influence, basic things like sleep, rest, and peace require strict, conscious discipline. It's not something that's just going to happen naturally. You have to actively block out time for it. If you aren't disciplining yourself to rest, the everyday noise of the world is going to drown out the profound inner growth that Saturn is trying to foster behind the scenes.
Finally, let's explore Section 4, the reward of mastery.
So we are shifting now from the heavy restrictions to their beautifully rewarding purpose. All this heavy lifting we've been discussing has a magnificent payoff. In the first half of life, this journey is definitely characterized by struggles, restrictions, and intense wisdom building. But as you cross into the second half of life, it brings an incredible lightness and profound spiritual mastery. Because you did all that grueling, invisible inner work early on, you eventually get to walk through the rest of your life with a profound sense of lightness. You've already mastered the heavy karmic burdens that hold so many other people down.
So I ask you, are today's struggles building tomorrow's wisdom? Positively, yes, absolutely. All the delays, the forced solitude, the silent tears, and the intense shadow work you are enduring right now, none of it is a random punishment. They are the exact required building blocks for your future spiritual maturity. You are literally constructing your future peace right now in the dark. Which brings us to the core thesis of this entire analysis. Saturn in the 12th often rewards what it first restricts. This is the ultimate duality of Saturn's alchemy. It's the hidden blessing. Wherever you are feeling the most intense restriction, isolation, or delay right now, that is the exact area where you are being set up for ultimate, unshakable mastery. The restriction is literally just the resistance training you need to build up your spiritual muscles.
I want to leave you with this final, powerful question to ponder as you look at your own path. What feels like isolation today that will become your mastery tomorrow? Take a real moment to reflect on where you feel restricted. Reframe it. That's your classroom. Embrace the solitude, do the inner work, and trust the slow, deliberate process of your own personal transformation. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I will see you next time.